Part 47. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Ching Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 461. Ning Liuhan said nervously, "You too, I don't know where I have offended you. Please spare my life if you have a lot of money. I have money in my family. If you tell me a number, I can let my family members send it." Huang Mao Wufa sneered, "We need money, but we don't need blackmail. Wouldn't it be faster to just rob the bank?" Hung Mao Wutian agreed, "Extorting money is too time-consuming and we don't need it." What? In other words, are they the kind of thieves who kill without blinking an eye like those in TV dramas? It's over, she is really dead this time. Then what are you going to do to me?" Wu Fa said with a joking look on his face, "Then it depends on how you perform." Wu Tian also had a lewd smile on his face, "If you can serve us two brothers well, maybe we can kindly let you go. Anyway, you haven't seen our faces." Ning Liuhan was startled, with a look of horror on his face. No, you can't do this to me. I have a boyfriend. If he knows, he will definitely abandon me." Wu Fa snorted, "We can't control it." After saying that, he closed the door with his brother and walked towards Ning Liuhan. Seeing that they were getting closer and closer to him, Ning Liuhan had no other choice but to shout at the top of his lungs, "Help, help! Kill, kill!" Wu Fa and Wu Tian frowned at the same time. Just as they were looking for something to plug Ning Liuhan's mouth, they heard a sound coming from above their heads. They were about to go out and take a look when they saw three people falling from the sky and standing firmly beside them. Wu Fa and Wu Tian saw that the three of them were all wearing camouflage uniforms, and two of the men looked very mature. They guessed that they were real soldiers. They quickly took out their guns from their waists, and one of them aimed at the other. As for Qiaoning Sun, they know that this is the back hill of the military training base, and there have been students in military training recently. He is probably the same as Ning Liuhan, he is just a weak student and there is nothing to be afraid of. Ning Liuhan cried with joy when he saw the person coming, and said excitedly, "Instructor Suo, Instructor He, you are finally here." The two of them ignored her at this time, but stared at the gun in Wu Fa and Wu Tian's hands. Suo Hongling frowned and said, "It was said above that our place is one of your escape routes." It seems they were right. "Instructor He, today is the day for you to submit to the law." That's right, these two people are wanted by the country. Because of human trafficking, trafficking in contraband, murder, and other crimes, the army has been asked to assist in arresting them, so that's why Suo Hongling and Instructor He are here. Qiaoning Sun took a look around. There were earthen walls all around, and the furniture in the house was all made by hand. It looked like no one had lived there for a long time. Wu Fa and Wu Tian were stunned at the same time. Wu Fa said warily, "You had known that we would come." Wu Tian also said, "Aren't you the instructors of the military training? Do you know us?" Suo Hongling said coldly, "Of course I know you, brothers Wu Fa and Wu Tian. You two are notoriously vicious throughout the country. There is an order from above asking us to cooperate with the police and arrest you as soon as possible." Wu Fa frowned and suddenly laughed, "I have a gun, what do you have?" "We have two more. You should have come here temporarily to find this female student. Do you have a gun? Even if you have a gun, we have hostages. Can you fight us?" Wu Tian suddenly cooperated and pointed his gun at Ning Liuhan. Ning Liuhan's face turned paler, and her whole body was trembling more violently. She couldn't even speak nervously, "Instructor, save me, I don't want to die, please save me, save me." Wu Fa looked at the three people opposite him coldly, walked to a cabinet, took out the rope from the cabinet, and came to a place 4 meters away from the three people. "Turn your back, I will tie you up myself." Instructor He looking at Suo Hongling, "What should I do?" Suo Hongling sneered, "What can we do? Just do it and it's over." After saying that, he didn't wait for the person opposite to react, took out his pistol, and shot Wu Tian's hand holding the pistol. Wu Tian's right hand hurt, and the gun in his hand fell to the ground. He wanted to pick up the gun on the ground with his left hand. It's just that instructor he was well prepared and kicked the ball far away, and it hit Jiao Ningsun's side. Jiao Ningsun picked up Wu Tian's gun. Instructor he fought against Wu Tian again. Wu Fa originally pointed a gun at Suo Hongling, but when he saw that he actually had a gun, he was confused for a moment, but he quickly calmed down and wanted to shoot at Suo Hongling. After Suo Hongling shot Wu Tian, he shot Wu Fa again, also injuring his arm. It was just as if Wu Fa didn't know the pain, he could still hold the gun steady and shoot at Suo Hongling. Jiao Ningsun suddenly rushed out and kicked Wu Fa's gun hand, causing the gun in his hand to fly out. Wu Fa was caught off guard and looked at Jiao Ningsun in disbelief. He thought he was just a female student in military training, but he didn't expect that she could actually do martial arts. Suo Hongling pointed his gun at Wu Fa, "Don't move, or I'll shoot." Wu Fa knew how bad these people were. In order to get more information, he would definitely not kill them casually. He sneered and stepped forward, "Are you capable of shooting? If I die, your mission will be considered a failure, right? After all, I still have very important news." After saying that, he rushed towards Suo Hongling. Suo Hongling had indeed received the order to capture him alive. When he saw the other party rushing towards him, he fired several shots at his feet. It's just that Wu Fa is indeed a criminal who makes people jealous. He actually dodged several shots and soon he got up close and fought with Suo Hongling. Suo Hongling had no choice but to fight with him. Seeing the instructors dealing with each other one by one, Ning Liuhan suddenly breathed a sigh of relief and looked at Jiao Ningsun rudely, "What are you still looking at? Come and untie me." Jiao Ningsun cast a life-saving spell on both Suo Hongling and instructor he, walked to Ning Liuhan's side with confidence, raised her eyebrows and said, "We won't let go for the time being. In your state, who knows if you will be in trouble if you let go, please, just watch from the side." After finishing speaking, she kindly moved her chair to the corner, as if she was worried that she would affect the performance of the instructors. Ning Liuhan was shocked and said, "You, how could you do this? If you let me go, I can escape. I won't cause trouble for them." Jiao Ningsun also looked at her in surprise, You are too heartless. The three of us came to save you regardless of our lives. You actually left us and ran away after you escaped. Do you have any conscience?" Ning Liuhan choked, I just don't want to cause trouble for them." Jiao Ningsun snorted, "What you say is better than what you sing. Just watch here and see how the instructors are working hard to save you. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible." Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 462. It wasted her precious rest time and only made Ning Liuhan nervous for a while, which was an advantage for her. Ning Liuhan felt relieved again. If the instructors couldn't defeat the two of them, wouldn't she be doomed? Jiao Ningsun, avenge your personal vengeance. Don't make me sound so vicious. Doesn't what I say make sense? Ning Liuhan had no choice but to watch the fight between the two sides nervously. 1 minute later, both instructors quickly captured the two of them. Suo Hongling looked at the man on the ground and said, keep beating. I don't know why, but he felt that it was very easy to deal with these people today, and he was not tired at all. Wu Fa looked dissatisfied, don't think you have won. I still have companions. When you come down from the mountain, he will kill the 4 of you. Suo Hongling and instructor He's expressions changed, and they suddenly looked up into the yard. Ning Liuhan also looked around with fear on his face, fearing that that person would suddenly appear. Jiao Ningsun, I asked you to let me go just now, but you didn't let me go. It's fine now. We will all die. If I escape, at least you can go back and report the news, and have someone come to rescue you, or collect your body. Instructor, he couldn't bear it anymore. Shut up. If Jiaoningsun really let you go just now, and his accomplices are around, I guess you are dead now. How can you blame her here? Ning Liuhan immediately shrank his neck. Is this the reason? She and Jiaoningsun are enemies. Why would Jiaoningsun be so kind? Suo Hongling continued to press Wu Fa and asked in a cold voice, where are your accomplices? Wu Fa smiled proudly and said, I won't tell you. Suddenly, the floor in the courtyard rose and a man climbed out. Jiaoningsun raised his eyebrows. It turns out he was hiding in the cellar. The man saw that two men in camouflage uniforms were controlling one person each, leaving only two helpless girls. He laughed and said, it seems that I showed up at the right time. Wu Fa was pressed to the ground and roared, Wuda, what are you waiting for? Take action quickly. They have two burdens, we can definitely get rid of them all. Wuda said with a speechless expression, there are only two girls left, can't you take your time? Wu Fa shouted, haven't you heard of the idiom Qis Shenbian? Wuda choked up and said, okay. After saying that, he walked towards Jiaoningsun and Ning Liuhan. Ning Liuhan saw Wuda getting closer and closer to them, and trembled, Jiaoningsun, you are so powerful, are you sure you can beat him? Jiaoningsun, if not, what do you want to do? Ning Liuhan's eyes flashed, let me go and let's run together. This accomplice has come out. There must be no one else. We are safe. Jiaoningsun mocked, I think you want me to protect you. Ning Liuhan stiffened and looked a little embarrassed. This was what she thought. Jiaoningsun said coldly, the instructors and I risked our lives to save you, but you have to abandon them. People like you are really not worth saving. Ning Liuhan was afraid that she would really give up on her and run away, so she hurriedly said, you can't run. If you run away, if people know that you left your classmates and ran for your life will be over. You will be killed by public opinion. Who said I was going to run away? After Jiaoningsun finished speaking, she saw that Wuda was only 3 meters away from her. She suddenly took out a pistol and pointed it at Wuda, I advise you not to move. Seeing this, Wuda was not afraid at all. He raised his eyebrows and said, little girl, can you use a gun? You can't scare me. Speaking, he continued to walk towards Jiaoningsun. Jiaoningsun sneered and pressed the switch directly, and the bullet shot towards Wuda's abdomen instantly. Everyone was stunned, not expecting that she would shoot suddenly. Although Jiaoningsun's results were good when he first practiced marksmanship. But there is still a difference between a real gun and a practice gun. Wuda has been on the run for many years and is quite capable. Although he seems to be looking down on Jiaoningsun, he is actually always on guard against her. The moment she fired, she ducked aside. The bullet just grazed his waist. Wuda covered his waist. Although he evaded in time, there was still a scratch on his waist. He frowned and said, Miss, guns are very dangerous and are not suitable for you to play with. With that said, he also took out a gun from his bag and pointed it at Ning Liuhan, haha, you didn't expect that, I also have a gun. If you want her to survive, throw away the gun quickly, otherwise I will kill your classmate. Ning Liuhan suddenly felt hopeless. Why did she turn around? She became a hostage again. Jiaoningsun raised his eyebrows, okay, just throw it away. She really lost her gun. Haha, Wuda smiled triumphantly, you don't have much ability. You didn't expect that the situation would be reversed immediately. You too. Wuda looked at Suo Hongling and instructor He, hurry up and release my two brothers, otherwise your students will die. Jiaoningsun suddenly interrupted, they won't let him go, and you won't have a chance to complain. Speaking, she suddenly rushed towards Wuda. Wuda was startled and immediately wanted to shoot at her, but she dodged it with lightning speed. By the time he was about to defend himself, Jiao Ningxun's foot had already reached his face, knocking him out instantly. Everyone was stunned. At this moment, Wu Fa and Wu Tian were struggling violently, trying to escape. Jiao Ningxun snapped his fingers to control the temperature of their brains, and the two of them fainted instantly. Suo Hongling and instructor He were stunned for a moment, looking at the man whose body suddenly became weak, with puzzled expressions on their faces. What did Jiao Ningxun do when he snapped his fingers? Did she be poisoned? Jiao Ningxun took out the string from the bag, actually from the space, and quickly Wuda who had fainted. Then they walked to Wu Fa and Wu Tian respectively and tied them up as well. Suo Hongling and instructor He breathed a sigh of relief and tied all three of them together. Jiao Ningxun snapped his fingers again, and Wu Fa and Wu Tian suddenly woke up. Wu Fa opened his eyes, feeling uncomfortable all over his body, especially his head, which felt like it was going to explode. Seeing that he was tied up, he roared, "Wait, I have my accomplices, and they won't let you go." Jiao Ningxun mocked, "Stop lying, if you have any accomplices, I will pick off my head and play it as a ball for you." Wu Fa was choked. This man actually knew that he was just bluffing? Instructor He untied Ning Liuhan and used the rope that tied her to tie the three of them tightly again. Ning Liuhan saw that he was finally saved, and saw the sinister looks in Wu Fa and Wu Tian's eyes, and said anxiously, You can stay and deal with it." Anyway, Jiao Ningxun just said that he has no accomplices. She just ran towards the yard, and she didn't know whether it was because she was too nervous or because her eyesight was bad, so she ran directly to the uncovered cellar. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 463. When Wuda came up from the cellar just now, he didn't bother to close the cellar. Ning Liuhan stepped in. Ah! Jiao Ningxun sighed helplessly. What are you running for? It's better now, your leg is broken. Soon, the backup people came over, took away the three criminals, and sent Ning Liuhan to the hospital. When Jiao Ningxun returned to the base, the afternoon military training had not yet started, and his roommates were still resting. It was already past lunchtime, but Suo Hongling said hello to the kitchen and asked her to do a special thing, and she had lunch smoothly. Back in the dormitory, everyone was sleeping, except Zhang Sisi sitting on the bed restlessly. Ning Liuhan's family is rich. If something happens to her when she goes out with her, she probably won't be able to find a good job even after graduating from Huaxia University. Although it was Ning Liuhan who suggested that she accompany him today, those rich people would not care about these details. They would only blame her for not protecting Ning Liuhan, or blame her for not persuading her. What should I do? What should I do? Suddenly, she heard the sound of the door opening and saw Jiao Ningxun coming back. She stepped forward anxiously. You are back. How is Ning Liuhan? Is she okay? She did not lower her voice, and as soon as she finished speaking, everyone else woke up. Of course, if a classmate is missing from the dormitory, they will definitely not be able to sleep. But for the afternoon training, I could only force myself to lie on the bed and close my eyes to rest. Jiao Ningxun saw the tension on Zhang Sisi's face and roughly knew what she was thinking. She said with a relaxed expression, Don't worry, she is fine. She is in the hospital now. Only one leg is broken and her life is not in danger. Yan Yuxiu had already put on her clothes, got down from the lower bunk, and asked, What happened to Ning Liuhan? Jiao Ningxun then told everything about what he had just encountered. Gan Xiao clicked her tongue twice. She was really unlucky. She actually fell into a ditch and broke her leg. It's hard for Xiaoningsun to tell the truth. After all, any fugitive who can alert the military to take action must be a wanted criminal. This matter cannot be disclosed casually. The crimes of those three men were worthy of the death penalty. And he also carried dozens of lives in his hands. Suo Hongling and instructor he are in high positions, but they come to the military training just to avoid alerting the enemy. Logically speaking, if prisoners come to the military training base, the students should be allowed to go to other places for military training. But this was the direction expected by the superiors, and they were worried that the cancellation of military training would make the three brothers alert. When the time comes, they would change direction and go to places they did not expect, which would cause more serious consequences. As long as the students stay at the military training base, nothing will happen. Even if they want to go to the mountains, they always go to a monitored place, and there are instructors around to clear and protect them. In the past, no student had dared to disobey orders and go to the back mountain without permission. After all, it is not easy to get admitted to Huaxia University. As long as you work hard, you will already have one foot in the door of a well-known company. No one expected that Ning Liuhan would have the courage to run to the back mountain. If Xiaoningsun told the truth, the students would spread it to tens of thousands, and it would definitely make people panic. Ning Liuhan, the instructors also warned her, otherwise they would tell her that she gave up running away to save her. And informed the school how she violated the rules of the base and ran to the back mountain during prohibited hours. Ning Liuhan was worried that the school would give her a demerit, so she had no choice but to agree. She also knew that what she did was not kind, and she promised not to tell anyone about it. Zhang Sisi frowned and broke her leg. Xiaoningsun knew that Zhang Sisi was suspicious, so he took her out and warned her. Zhang Sisi was timid and worried that this matter would drag her down, so she agreed without telling anyone. In the afternoon, military training began as usual. Although Suo Hongling and instructor He's goals have been completed, in order not to arouse unnecessary suspicion among the students, and in order to finish their work from beginning to end, they still stayed for military training. In the afternoon, Ning Liuhan also came back. Instructor He directly found a female soldier and sent her back to the dormitory. Ning Liuhan couldn't help laughing when she thought that everyone else was training under the scorching sun while she was the only one resting in the dormitory. Seeing her sitting motionless on the chair, the female soldier frowned and said, "Hurry up and pack your things. You can't do military training with your appearance. I have received an order to send you back to school." Ning Liuhan was instantly happy that she could go home early. She asked with a look of surprise, "Does that mean I won't need military training in the future?" The female soldier nodded, "There is no need for military training this semester, but the regulations of Huaxia University are that military training counts as credits and is compulsory, so you can't participate this year. You must participate with the freshmen next year to make up for the credits, otherwise it will affect graduate." Ning Liuhan was stunned. "Then I have already had military training for 5 days this year. Should I start military training on the 5th day next year?" The female soldier was speechless. "How is that possible? Of course military training starts from the first day, and your time for this military training will be recalculated." "What? Then the suffering she has endured these past few days was not in vain? Moreover, there will be military training once next year. Doesn't it mean that she will have 5 more days of military training than her classmates?" Ning Liuhan suddenly became anxious. "The time for military training next semester is very likely to be the same as my class time, so I don't want to delay my studies. If the teacher fails to call me, won't I miss many classes? It will affect me. My usual grades will also affect my final exam scores." The female soldier was expressionless. "Don't worry. If there are many people retaking military training next year, it is very likely that military training will start at the end of August. Huaxia University is still very humane. But if it is not during the summer vacation, then you will only have yourself and the teacher. Explain the situation clearly so that she doesn't have a bad impression of you. Ning Liuhan's face suddenly turned uglier than after eating bitter melon. The female soldier said nothing more and asked her to pack her things and take her back to school later. Ning Liuhan had no choice but to accept his fate. She felt extremely regretful. If she had known, she would not have run away in the morning. She was running in a hurry, and she didn't notice that there was a cellar there. Ning Liuhan packed her things and was about to leave the dormitory when instructor he suddenly came over. Ning Liuhan asked, "Instructor, you don't have to see me off in person, just find a soldier to see me off." "Instructor," he said coldly, "you still want me to send you off? You can just dream. The higher UPS have spoken." Yu and Zhang Sisi suddenly appeared in the back mountain. "This is a dereliction of duty by the base. This matter must be investigated thoroughly. Come with me now, you're my classmate." Zhang Sisi is also waiting in the office. Ning Liuhan's heart skipped a beat, but she soon calmed down. She was just worried that something might happen to Qiaoning Xuan, so she and Zhang Sisi went to have a look. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 464. After a while, Ning Liuhan came to Suo Hongling's office. At this time, Qiaoning Xuan and Zhang Sisi were already waiting for her. Seeing her come in, Suo Hongling said quietly, "Everyone, please sit down." Ning Liuhan saw that there were many unfamiliar instructors inside, so she tried to calm herself down and went to sit next to Zhang Sisi with her crutch. Suo Hongling said solemnly, "When we were gathering just now, I asked one of your classmates in the dormitory. She said that someone from the dormitory outside came to see Qiaoning Xuan. Ning Liuhan promised to pass the message for that person, but in the end he and Zhang Sisi let's go to the foot of the mountain for an appointment, am I right?" Ning Liuhan and Zhang Sisi were silent. I don't know if the instructors would believe them if they denied it at the same time. "Suo Hongling, you went to the back mountain privately. You made a mistake to begin with. If you hide it again, it will be an added mistake. Do you really want to be expelled?" Zhang Sisi suddenly became anxious. We didn't do anything, why are we about to be kicked out of school?" Suo Hongling said with a cold face, "You violated the rules of the base, which means you violated your school rules. You did not obey the school's instructions and made a big mistake. Is such a big mistake not worthy of expulsion?" Zhang Sisi panicked and looked at Ning Liuhan anxiously. Ning Liuhan didn't want to be kicked out of school. Although her family was rich, she was not in a position to compete with the school. "The thing is like this," the female classmate said, "I just wanted to go and see the situation. I didn't expect to get there. No one saw it, but they found that my jade pendant was missing, so I took Zhang Sisi to look for it." Zhang Sisi breathed a sigh of relief. Ning Liuhan still had some conscience and did not put the blame on her. "Instructor," he said disdainfully, "others were looking for Qiaoning Xuan, but you didn't tell her and instead went on her own instead of her. What a good character you have." Ning Liuhan and Zhang Sisi heard the sarcasm in his tone and blushed at the same time. Ning Liuhan felt aggrieved. Although she was wrong, she paid the price. Her legs were broken. "I heard that even if a broken leg is healed, there will be sequelae when you get older. She is in such a miserable state, but for a grown man to say that to a little girl like her is really too much." Suo Hongling also despised the two people's characters, but now is not the time to discuss their characters. He asked, "Can you still remember the appearance of that female classmate?" Ning Liuhan and Zhang Sisi looked at each other and shook their heads at the same time. Ning Liuhan, she was wearing a hat, and I couldn't see her face clearly. Zhang Sisi, me too, but she should be about the same height as me. I'm 1.64 meters tall, and she should be above 1.64 meters tall. Suo Hongling asked again, "Then if you listen to her voice again now, Can you recognize her? The two shook their heads again. Suo Hongling sighed and could only look at Jiaoning Sun. Adjusting monitoring is really a waste of time, it would be faster to find her. Jiaoning Sun had no choice but to say, I know that person is Yi Xiaoxiu from our class. Suo Hongling immediately sent someone to find Yi Xiaoxiu. Other instructors were a little curious as to why Suo Hongling believed Jiaoning Sun's words so easily. The same goes for Ning Liuhan and Zhang Sisi. Jiaoning Sun was not there at the time, so how did she know it was Yi Xiaoxiu? Jiaoning Sun could tell what everyone was thinking by looking at their eyes. I can tell fortunes, so just by counting with my fingers, I knew it was Yi Xiaoxiu. Some people are a little helpless. Is Jiaoning Sun treating them like monkeys? Ning Liuhan suddenly said excitedly, Jiaoning Sun, you were not in the dormitory at that time, but you knew it was Yi Xiaoxiu. Did you design this matter? Just to take revenge on me? Jiaoning Sun looked at her as if she were a fool. Am I taking revenge on you? What should I take revenge on you for? Did I make you lose your jade pendant? Did I make you get caught? Or did I make you ungrateful and leave we couldn't escape, but ended up breaking our legs? Seeing Jiaoning Sun mentioning her escape again, and the other instructors looking at her with complicated faces, Ning Liuhan suddenly became quiet. If she continues, she doesn't know what else Jiaoning Sun will say that will harm her reputation. Zhang Sisi was stunned and ran away. Did Ning Liuhan abandon the two instructors and Jiaoning Sun at the critical moment for his own safety, and that's why his leg was broken? Zhang Sisi hesitated. Her decision to please Ning Liuhan seemed to be wrong at first. Ning Liuhan can do it once, but he can do it twice. Once something happens in the future, I will definitely abandon her as soon as possible. What should we do? After only being entangled for a while, Zhang Sisi stopped being entangled. Isn't a ready-made handle now delivered to your door? If Ning Liuhan dares to hurt her in the future, she will threaten her with what happened today. Let's see what she does. After a while, Yi Xiaoxiu was brought. Seeing Jiaoning Sun and others here, she suddenly realized. She asked why there were a few people missing from the class. It turned out to be them, and they were all here. Suo Hongling saw that her face was reserved, and when he saw Jiaoning Sun, there was no guilty look on her face. He guessed that she was also being taken advantage of, so his tone softened a bit. Yi Xiaoxiu, right? Yi Xiaoxiu nodded, yes. Please sit down. Yi Xiaoxiu sat next to Zhang Sisi anxiously. Suo Hongling asked, I heard that you were the one who sent the message to Jiaoning Sun, saying that someone very important to Jiaoning Sun was waiting for her at the foot of the back mountain, right? Yi Xiaoxiu, yes. The other instructors looked at Jiaoning Sun in surprise, and they were really convinced that she was right. Suo Hongling asked again, do you know that person? Yi Xiaoxiu, well, he was wearing a hat and a mask. I couldn't see his face clearly, but if I saw his eyes again, I would definitely recognize him. I was on my way back to the dormitory when I was suddenly greeted by a man. The boy wearing a hat pulled him. I was in a hurry to go back to the dormitory and didn't have time to ask his name. After I was done, I went to find Jiaoning Sun, but I didn't expect that she wasn't there. It was her classmates and me. Say, you can convey it? Suo Hongling pointed at Ning Liuhan and Zhang Sisi, look, are they the two of them? Yi Xiaoxiu turned her head and glanced at the two of them respectively, and nodded, it's them. The two of them were immediately embarrassed. Suo Hongling, classmate Yi, can you please identify that male classmate? Yi Xiaoxiu nodded, of course. Suo Hongling looked at Jiaoning Sun again. Jiaoning Sun understood what he meant and wanted to narrow down the scope. Let's go look for them in our class. I haven't been in contact with people from other classes, so they shouldn't plot against me. Yi Xiaoxiu, that's right. 5 minutes later, Yi Xiaoxiu and Li Shayan came over again. Jiaoningsun saw the person coming and said with a smile, "Classmate Li, it turns out it's you." Li Shayan pretended to be puzzled and said, "Jiaoningsun, what are you talking about? Why don't I understand?" Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 465. Yi Xiaoxiu didn't expect Li Shayan to pretend to be confused, and frowned. "Li Shayan, it's you who asked me to send a message to Jiaoningsun. I remember the black mole on your eyebrow, there is nothing wrong with it?" Li Shayan was panicking, but he looked calm on his face. "You must have mistaken the person. Among the boys in the class, I am not the only one with a mole on my eyebrow." "You," Yi Xiaoxiu said anxiously, "it's you. Although I didn't see your face, I saw your eyes and eyebrows, and I remembered your voice." Li Shayan still wanted to deny it, so Suo Hongling said, "The entire base is under surveillance. We are not adjusting the surveillance now. We just want to give you a chance. If you still refuse to admit it, we will adjust the surveillance. If it is confirmed that it is you, then what awaits you will range from a major demerit to expulsion from the school. You should carefully consider the consequences." Dismissal. Li Shayan suddenly panicked. He had no choice but to admit, "Yes, I asked Yi Xiaoxiu to carry the message for me." Suo Hongling asked, "Why did you ask Jiaoningsun to go there?" Li Shayan looked a little uncomfortable. I like Jiaoningsun and want to confess to her, so I have been hiding in the dark." "But who knew that she didn't come?" "It was Ning Liuhan and Zhang Sisi who came. I don't think Jiaoningsun is, it might happen again, so I left." Suo Hongling narrowed his eyes dangerously. "Confession? Besides confession, what else do you want to do?" He knew that Li Shayan wanted to join Jiaoningsun's team to get food in the morning, but she refused. Li Shayan's eyes flickered guiltily. I didn't want to do anything." Suo Hongling's face darkened. "Tell the truth." Li Shayan was startled by Suo Hongling's momentum, and explained with trembling legs, "I really just think about it, this is the base, and I finally got into Huaxia University, and I know what crime is, so I only dare to think about Jiaoning. I don't dare to do anything else except soon becoming my girlfriend." Suo Hongling, "I don't dare to measure you, otherwise you will wait for death. You are not allowed to spread a word of what I said here today, otherwise you will not be able to bear the consequences. Because of you, Ning Liuhan almost died at the hands of a kidnapper. Here, we were almost in danger." In order not to cause panic, he could only say that the three brothers were kidnappers, and it was impossible to reveal the true crime. Li Shayan was shocked. On the way here, he also heard the instructor say that Ning Liuhan almost died. How can this be blamed on me? I didn't know that such a thing would happen, and it's because I asked Jiaoningsun that they wanted to go on their own, and I didn't do anything to them. It was also because they were confused and lost the jade pendant. Even if I don't ask Jiaoningsun today, they will still do it if they find that the jade pendant is missing. It's up the mountain." Suo Hongling looked at Ning Liuhan. He said that, "What else do you want to say?" Ning Liuhan snorted, "If it weren't for Li Shayan, I would have been resting at that time. When I found out, I would have been in military training again. At that time, I would have never dared to be with Zhang Sisi. It's dark at night, so I won't be able to go. I'll just report it to the instructor and ask him to help me find it. This way, the instructors and I will not be in danger, so he is the culprit, and he is the cause of today." Li Shayan rolled his eyes at her. "What you are saying now is just speculation. You have evil intentions and want to destroy my confession to Jiaoningsun, so you are in danger today." "Ning Liuhan, you're talking nonsense. It's obviously your fault. It's just that you don't know how to reflect now. You're still shirking responsibility. You broke my leg and made me have to retake military training next year. I've suffered so much this year, it's all in vain. I'll go back and find my lawyer to sue you and ask you to compensate me for my mental damages. The instructors looked at Suo Hongling at the same time. The meaning in their eyes was very clear. Ning Liuhan must not be allowed to hire a lawyer, otherwise wouldn't the arrest of the prisoner today be exposed? Suo Hongling looked at Ning Liuhan coldly. You still have the nerve to sue? It's Jiao Ningxun who should be sued. Not only did you replace someone else, but you also caused her to almost die. She risked her own life to save you, and you were just safe. Come down, you have to abandon us and run away, otherwise why would your leg be broken? Do you want me to show you the video? Ning Liuhan choked and was speechless. Although she was dissatisfied, she did not dare to talk back at this time. Suo Hongling said solemnly, it is absolutely impossible to hire a lawyer. You know what this matter involves even if I don't tell you, right? Ning Liuhan nodded. She was actually just scaring people. If others knew that she was almost raped, her reputation would be damaged. Suo Hongling looked at Li Shayan again. Do you know you were wrong? Li Shayan knew that those who understand current affairs are heroes. Suo Hongling was trying to help him step down and said quickly, I know I was wrong, instructor. I won't dare to do it next time. Suo Hongling looked at Ning Liuhan again. Ning Liuhan reluctantly said, I also know that I was wrong. I will never cheat on my classmates, do anything ungrateful, and will not ignore the arrangements of the school or the military training base. Jiao Ningxun, I'm sorry, I will never interfere in your affairs again. Zhang Sisi saw the instructor's eyes glancing over and said, I will advise my classmates in the future. If this happens again, I will report it to the instructor as soon as possible. The instructors were satisfied. Suo Hongling said, okay, you are all students. You are lucky this time. Thanks to classmate Jiao Ningxun's skill, nothing happened to us. Li Shayan, we will report your fault to the school. The school wants to how to deal with it is none of the base's business. Ning Liuhan, although your leg is broken, you brought it all on yourself and almost killed 3 people. The base will send you back to school today. We don't care what happens to the school after that. If you're lucky, you can come back for military training next year. Zhang Sisi, your mistake will be more serious, and it will be dealt with by your school. But the mistake you made was at the base after all. Li Shayan and Zhang Sisi, you will each run 20 laps around the grassland later. When will you finish running, when will you rest, and when will you eat? 20 laps? The two of them suddenly became desperate. A 400-meter lap. If they run 20 laps, are their legs still their own? Li Shayan was a little unconvinced. Instructor, what about Ning Liuhan? She is obviously the one who is more at fault in this matter, why is she not punished? Suo Hongling frowned and said, she broke a leg, and now she is being punished corporally. What happened to her? Can you explain it to her parents? I told you, I will report her fault to your school, and your school will punish you. If you are not convinced, then go to your school leader yourself. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 466. Li Shayan choked. He secretly decided that if the school's punishment was unfair, he would make a big deal about it. Anyway, when we leave the military training base, we probably won't meet these instructors again. Suo Hongling said a few more words and asked them all to go back. They were questioned individually by the instructor. Ning Liuhan also suddenly withdrew from the military training. Some people were curious about what happened between them. However, everyone has been warned, so even Li Shayan did not dare to reveal the slightest bit of news. Although he only knew that Ning Liuhan was kidnapped by gangsters. He doesn't want to be kicked out of school. Suo Hongling knew that if he didn't make it clear, the students would definitely ask among themselves, and people would be panic-stricken by then. So he said that Ning Liuhan went up the mountain privately to find a jade pendant and broke his leg. He quit military training and warned all students not to go up the mountain privately. The students stopped asking further. When Jiao Ningxun and others came back in the evening, Ning Liuhan's things had been taken away. Zhang Sisi felt very uncomfortable. Ning Liuhan left, and she offended Jiao Ningxun again. It is estimated that the next days will not be easy. It's just that she was overthinking it, and Jiao Ningxun didn't take her seriously at all. He just wanted the military training to end quickly so that she could go back to live broadcasting, do business, and make a lot of money. Soon, it was the day of the military training parade. Huaxia University performance will return to school. Jiao Ningxun's class became the best performing class. As for Jiao Ningxun, because of his excellent performance, he was successfully awarded the title of Outstanding Student. She helped catch the criminal, Suo Hongling specifically notified the school, and the military training base praised her. If nothing unexpected happens, Jiao Ningxun should definitely get the scholarship. It's just that the school knows about this kind of thing. If it is announced, Jiao Ningxun might be in danger. Although the criminals have been arrested, they still have family members and relatives who may take revenge. After the performance, a group of people wearing camouflage uniforms were in a room watching Jiao Ningxun's usual performance. Her performance when she was looking for Ning Liuhan that day was all recorded by the miniature cameras carried by Suo Hongling and instructor He. After reading it, Suo Hongling's leader Chi Kunwei said, "Xiao Suo, Xiao He, are you too sure that you didn't show mercy that day?" Suo Hongling, "No, you still don't understand my temper." Instructor He, also known as He Qingnang, said, "I didn't show any mercy. If I had spared any mercy, I would have been beaten to the ground by her. There were so many students at that time, it would be too embarrassing." Chi Kunwei was stunned. Is she really that powerful? He Qingnang, yes, look at her moves. They are fierce and powerful. No one in the class can beat her. If we can hold on under her hands for 2 minutes, we are almost at our limit. Chi Kunwei touched his beard and said, "She is so strong and her martial arts is so good. She must have been taught by a reclusive master. Have you found out who her master is? If such a powerful person can teach the talents under him, it will be even more powerful for the Huaxia kingdom." Suo Hongling, "I can't find out, and it's not easy for me to investigate, so as not to affect family harmony." Chi Kunwei asked doubtfully, "Family harmony?" Suo Hongling had no choice but to tell Jiao Ningxun's identity. "That's it? He is also my cousin. My cousin doesn't want to expose her identity to avoid attracting criminals." What he said today was all approved by Suo Jingguo. If outsiders knew that the eldest lady of the Sox group was studying at Huaxia University, and she didn't have a bodyguard around her, she would most likely become the target of all the lower class people. Even if Jiao Ningxun is very powerful and can get away every time, if too many people keep disturbing her, she will definitely get bored and cause trouble to her classmates. At that time, no one can kidnap her, and her classmates who kidnapped her threaten her. What if she is kidnapped morally? He Qingnang said in shock, "Lao Suo, you are too tight-lipped. Jiao Ningxun is actually a member of your Suo family." Chi Kunwei also looked at each other in surprise with several other colleagues. Suo Hongling said helplessly, "I can't help it. My cousin has an order, and as a nephew, I can only obey it." Chi Kunwei was a little troubled. Jiao Ningxun's superficial identity was that of a farm girl, and her family contracted the land. I thought that her status was simple, and when they offered her a high salary, she would definitely be happy to be used by them. But if she is the eldest lady of the Sox group, others are not short of money at all. No matter how much money is given, if she is not willing, she probably will not agree. Seeing several leaders frowning, Suo Hongling said, "Actually, my cousin also investigated her and found out that she had a master." My cousin Suo Hongfeng asked her why she still knew fortune telling. She said that I got an opportunity by chance and taught myself. She is not only good at martial arts and fortune telling, but also medical skills. She can cure cancer, and her academic performance is also good. Although she was recommended to Hwaseong University, she also took the college entrance examination and easily got full marks, and she was also a local student this year. Provincial science champion. Chi Kunwei's eyes widened even more. She is actually so powerful. He Qingneng sighed, "Lao Suo, your Suo family's ancestral graves can actually keep smoking. There are too many people. When can my ancestral graves also smoke?" "Don't change the subject." Chi Kunwei glared at He Qingneng and sighed, "This girl is indeed a talent. If I take her with me when I go on a mission, I will save a lot of trouble." He Qingneng touched his nose uncomfortably. The other leader nodded, "Yes, fortune telling is so accurate. Any dangers can be predicted in advance. In the future, when young people go on missions, they can reduce casualties." Suo Hongling said, "That's true, but she said she didn't want to." Chi Kunwei thought about it and said, "Whenever I am free, you can make arrangements to see if she wants to see me. But don't force her. If she doesn't want to, just forget it. We'll talk about it later." Suo Hongling nodded, "Okay, I'll listen to you." At night, after the military training performance, the students either go home or go back to their dormitories. Ning Liuhan had no accommodation and stayed at his own home. Although Zhang Sisi's family is local, it is in a rural area and is far away from the school. In order not to be so hard, she still lives on campus. Back in the dormitory, she went to look at the dormitories shared by several other classmates, but she could not find Xiaoning Xuan. But she found Yan Yuxiu. Yan Yuxiu's family also bought a house in Beijing, but it was too far from the school. In order to facilitate her study, she also lived on campus. She knew her abilities and relied on Xiaoning Sun to give her tutoring to get into Hwaseong University. If she doesn't go to the library to study more in the future, she will probably lag far behind other classmates, and whether she can graduate is still a question. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 467. Living on campus can save her a lot of time on the way to the library. Zhang Sisi asked, "Yan Yuxiu, which dormitory does Xiaoningsun live in?" Yan Yuxiu was making the bed. When she saw the person coming, she said quietly, "She doesn't live on campus. She has a house near the school and lives in her own house." Zhang Sisi was stunned and asked uncomfortably, "Isn't she from Nanjing? She also has a house in the capital? Could it be that she temporarily left her household registration with a relative?" Many people do this in order to go to school. As long as you give some benefits to relatives, some soft-hearted relatives can add the relatives' names to the property rights certificate for the sake of their elders and money. Yan Yuxiu frowned, "How is that possible? How can she, a person who can give me more than 20,000 yuan in skincare products, live in a relative's house?" "She lives in her own house, which she bought the year before last, in a community near the school." Zhang Sisi's face suddenly became extremely jealous. She originally thought that Jiaoningsun was a poor guy from the countryside, but she didn't expect that he could actually have money to buy a house near Hwaseong University. There were other people in the dormitory who were also shocked when they heard what Yan Yuxiu said. "Jiaoningsun is a barefoot doctor, but he is so rich." Zhang Sisi's tone was sour. "Isn't her family from a rural area? Why is she so rich?" Other students thought for a while, whether Jiaoningsun was. Yan Yuxiu understood the meaning of Zhang Sisi's words. A beautiful girl from a rural area could afford a house at Huaxia University in the capital. She was most likely being kept by someone. Yan Yuxiu would never allow anyone to misunderstand Xiaoningsun like this. She put her hands on her hips and said, "What are you thinking about in your head?" After speaking, she looked at the others and said, "Pour out the dirty thoughts in your heads." Zhang Sisi curled her lips. Can someone from a rural area buy a house? How could we not think wildly? Yan Yuxiu snorted, her family does farm, but they contract the land and hire people to farm the land. In the past few years, their family has contracted dozens of acres of land, to thousands of acres this year. Most of the people in my village and several neighboring villages work under her family, which can be said to be the boss. Do you know about cherries, which have become very popular in recent years? Just selling cherries can sell for millions or even tens of millions in one season, not to mention that their family grows organic vegetables and fruits, and they have a lot of money. People like it the most, and there's not enough to sell every year. She owns several shops and houses in Nanjing City alone. In the mountains of her hometown, she can sell wild mushrooms for hundreds of thousands with just one morning's hard work. You think, her family is so rich and she is so capable, can she not afford a house in the capital? What's more, others have started their own business and are still the eldest lady of the Sox group. Everyone present is being taken care of, even Xiaoningsun. Thousands of acres of land? Cherries, how many millions? How many houses? Hundreds of thousands of wild mushrooms can be sold in one morning? Those who heard it were extremely shocked. Xiaoningsun can be regarded as the second generation of rich people. Even if her family doesn't contribute any money, she can go find the fungi herself and the money from the sales can be used to buy a house. Zhang Sisi said blankly, are you telling the truth? Yan Yuxiu spread her hands helplessly, of course it's true. Do I need to lie to you? And she knows medical skills. Her medical skills are very famous in her village and she has cured many difficult and complicated diseases. Rich people will also ask her to see a doctor. I don't need to say how valuable a rich person's life is. With a one-time payment, you can buy a house. In high school, I ranked first in every exam and received scholarships every semester. She has participated in many competitions, whether it is mathematics or track and field. As long as she participates, she has always been the first. Every time, the prize money ranges from tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands. After 2 years, there is little to say. More than 2 million. Also, she came to Huaxia University as a recommended student. She took the college entrance examination and just wanted to have fun. Who knows, she easily won the top spot in science. Just the bonus given to her by the school and the government. It's hundreds of thousands, not to mention private companies. If you don't believe it, just go and find out all the wealthy nobles in Nanjing also know about her. Zhang Sisi looked in disbelief that Xiaoningsun was actually so rich. Some people's faces were twisted with jealousy. They thought they were from the countryside, but they didn't expect that their family's conditions were better than their own. Some people also regretted it. If they had known that her medical skills were real, they should not have alienated her. Zhang Sisi felt very sad. Xiaoningsun was also a rich man. No wonder she dared to go against Ning Liuhan. Had I known, she would have stopped taking sides just like Gao Weiwei. But all you earn from farming is hard-earned money. The annual income is probably not as good as Ning Liuhan's family company, right? Yes, definitely not comparable. As for what happened in the dormitory, after dinner, Yan Yuxiu also talked to Xiaoningsun on WeChat. Xiaoningsun didn't care at all and asked Yan Yuxiu to stand up for her in the future on the premise of protecting herself, so as not to make it difficult for Yan Yuxiu to behave in the dormitory because of her. The next 3 days will be the Mid-Autumn Festival holiday, and classes will not start until Tuesday. Xiaoningsun also plans to think carefully about her pharmaceutical company. In her opinion, it would be too much trouble to create a company from scratch, and she doesn't have that much time. Hence, she plans to find small companies that are about to go bankrupt and acquire them with direct funds, just like she did when she founded the clothing company. Anyway, she has quite a lot of cash now. Xiaoningsun picked up the phone, hesitated for a moment, and then gave up. Suo Hongfeng seems to have taken on a new play now, and has already started reading the script. It would be bad to disturb him rashly. As the chairman of the board, Suo Jingguo must be extremely busy every day, so it would be hard for her to disturb him. She was about to search on the internet when Suo Hongling suddenly called. Ask for the instructor, huh, invite me to dinner, that's so embarrassing, you are the instructor, it's my turn to treat you. I'll invite you next time, okay, send me your location and I'll be there right away. Xiaoningsun received the location and saw that it was still quite far away from her, so she didn't waste any time and sent a message to her cousins so that they didn't have to wait for her to eat. She picked up the car keys and went to the parking lot. 40 minutes later, she arrived at a villa area. After some registration inquiries, the security guard seemed to have been greeted in advance and quickly let her in. After parking the car, she came to the villa where she was located. Suo Hongling had been waiting for her at the door for a long time. When he saw her coming, he quickly stepped forward to greet her. Suo Hongling today is not wearing a military uniform, but is wearing ordinary clothes. I have to say that he in military uniform and in regular uniform give people completely different feelings. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 468. As expected of the Suo family, if someone with this face went into the entertainment industry, even if he could not reach the status of Suo Hongfeng, he would at least be a first-line star. It's just his face. Xiaoningsun looked at him sideways. You were so dark at the base before. Could it be that you put black powder on your face on purpose to make people think you are not a pretty boy, right? Also to make the female classmates concentrate on training and not pay so much attention to you. Suo Hongling coughed lightly. Just no, don't say it. His biggest trouble is this face. He is obviously a man, but his face is as fair as a woman's. No matter how hard he trains, he can't get tan or get burned. For his mission, he also went to other schools for military training in the past 2 years. But several girls fell in love with him and fought for her to the death. During that time, he received a lot of criticism. Later, when he went to school for military training, he simply put on black powder and turned himself black. The effect is also very good. Even if the outline of the facial features does not change, the peach blossoms are indeed reduced a lot when the person becomes darker. Xiaoningsun smiled and didn't ask any more questions. It was probably Suo Hongfeng who gave him the idea. Soon, the two entered the villa. Xiaoningsun looked at the luxuriously decorated villa and asked, "Is this your residence?" Suo Hongling nodded, "Yes, but with my salary, it will probably take many years to afford it. This is bought by my family." Xiaoningsun, understood. As soon as I entered, I saw an old man climbing a ladder. And the ladder, with no one holding it, was about to fall towards Xiaoningsun. Xiaoningsun had no choice but to quickly step forward and hold the ladder steadily. The old man on the ladder breathed a long sigh of relief, quickly got down from the ladder, and said happily, "My child, thank you very much, otherwise my old bones will definitely fall apart. You don't have to risk your life just to test me." Xiaoningsun complained in her heart and said softly, "You're welcome. I wonder who you are." Suo Hongling introduced, "He is my boss, his surname is Qi." Xiaoningsun nodded, "Hello, Mr. Qi." Qi Kunwei smiled and said, "Hello, it's better to see once than hear 100 times. Come, let's sit down and talk." Xiaoningsun had no objection and sat opposite him. If you have something to say, just tell me. Seeing her being so direct, Qi Kunwei was surprised and said, do you know why we are looking for you? Xiaoningsun, I know. Qi Kunwei suddenly took out an ancient book and handed it to her. I heard that your grades are very good. I also went to Nanjing No. 1 Middle School to ask your class teacher. I heard that you have a photographic memory. Originally, he thought that Xiaoningsun was better at martial arts and had a stronger learning ability. But unexpectedly, after going to Nanjing No. 1 Middle School to inquire in person, he found out that Xiaoningsun's ability was not just what he had seen. Xiaoningsun also gave him face, took it and took a look at it. Yes, it is indeed a photographic memory. As her body's spiritual power increases, her memory is getting better and better. At first I had to read it carefully to remember it, but now I just glance at it and I can remember it firmly. Qi Kunwei, I know my request is very presumptuous, but I still want to ask you to repeat the 4th chapter of the ancient text. Xiaoningsun glanced down and raised his head suddenly. That's it. Qi Kunwei and Suo Hongling were stunned at the same time. Is this all right? You only looked at it for a second, right, then you remembered it? Xiaoningsun nodded, closed the book, and recited the ancient text leisurely. The two of them were extremely shocked. The ancient texts in this book had never been read in textbooks. How can someone remember such an obscure ancient text at a glance? Qi Kunwei said, okay, let me tell you the truth. There is a special department under me, which was established in the past year. It has many talents and specializes in solving special incidents. You are good at skills and smart. If used where it should be used, it can reduce a lot of casualties. Xiaoningsun sighed softly. He knew that they still refused to give up. If they didn't agree, they would probably come to her again in the future. I'm very happy that you think highly of me. I love freedom and don't like to be restrained. So be it. If you need my help in the future, I will be obliged to do so. Of course, I want a salary, so it will not affect my normal life. Just think of it as accumulating merit. One of the reasons why God allowed her to practice immortal magic is probably because he wanted her to benefit mankind. If her magic can really reduce casualties and bring convenience to mortals, she would be happy. The premise is not to restrain her. Qi Kunwei hesitated. In this case, you will not be able to participate in the usual training. If you go on a mission without systematic training, we cannot guarantee your safety. As long as I can guarantee it myself, it'll be fine. Xiaoningsun raised his eyebrows. You should have a practice gun in your hands. Why don't we give it a try? Qi Kunwei, how to try? Xiaoningsun, just shoot at me. If I could easily dodge the gun, you wouldn't question me anymore. No, Suo Hongling objected firmly. If I make a mistake, if something happens to you, your father will skin me. Qi Kunwei nodded. Yes, this is too dangerous. Isn't this kid really talking big words? There are indeed people who can dodge bullets, but they are very few. He did not believe that a weak girl could dodge bullets. Xiaoningsun knew they would object. Then you don't have to target me, I have a way to prove it. Qi Kunwei and Suo Hongling looked at each other and nodded at the same time. If it's not aimed at people, they have nothing to worry about. Soon, Suo Hongling took the two of them to the practice room. Suo Hongling raised his gun and aimed it at the target. Xiaoningsun was not far from the target. When Suo Hongling fired, she was like a shadow, quickly holding all the bullets in her hand. Qi Kunwei and Suo Hongling looked at the target in shock. There was not even a bullet. Xiaoningsun walked up to them and poured the bullets from his left hand to his right hand. I have all the bullets. Now you should believe me, right? Qi Kunwei and Suo Hongling were stunned. Is there really anyone in the world who can catch bullets with bare hands? Suo Hongling asked her to stretch out her hand, making sure that there were no gloves made of special materials in her hand, and asked in shock, "Is your hand okay at all?" Chiao Ningxun shook his head, "It's okay." Seeing that they were silent, Chiao Ningxun saw that there was a rock climbing area nearby. Before they could speak, she started climbing. The two of them were stunned for a moment. By the time they reacted, she had already climbed to the top. Suo Hongling asked, "What are you doing? Come down quickly, it's dangerous. The highest point is as high as 4 stories. She climbed up without taking any protective measures. If she fell, she would die or be disabled. End of chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 469. The cousin will definitely eat him alive by then. Is this person born in the year of the monkey? Climbs too easily. Suddenly, she opened her hands and jumped down from above. Chi Kunwei and Suo Hongling's faces instantly turned pale. It's over, the talent will be gone. It's over, he can't explain to the Suo family anymore. However, they thought too much. When Chiao Ningxun jumped down, he even did a somersault in the air, and then stood firmly in front of them. The two of them looked at the person who suddenly stood in front of them, and their eyes almost dropped. Chi Kunwei said blankly, "You know Qing Gong." Chiao Ningxun raised her eyebrows and said, "That's about right. Even if I jump from a higher place, I'll be fine. She can also fly." Suo Hongling's face suddenly darkened, and he reprimanded with a stern face like an elder, "Chiao Ningxun, don't do such dangerous things again in the future. If something happens to you, how will you let your parents live?" Chiao Ningxun saw that he seemed to be really angry and said sarcastically, "I'll be fine." Suo Hongling saw that his cousin seemed to be frightened by him, so he immediately softened his tone and said, "Okay, I'm just worried about you." Chiao Ningxun became more energetic again, straightened her back and said, "I know, you are also doing it for my own good." Suo Hongling. Chi Kunwei circled Chiao Ningxun and asked suspiciously, "Are you really fine?" "No. Can you jump twice for me to see?" Okay. After Chiao Ningxun said that, he really jumped a few times. Seeing that her expression remained unchanged, the two of them truly believed her. Chi Kunwei looked at Suo Hongling with a smile, "You, my cousin, are really amazing." Suo Hongling looked sideways at Chiao Ningxun. "Yes, she is very powerful. I guess even my cousin and cousin don't know she has this ability, and they don't know if she has any secrets she is hiding from us." Chiao Ningxun suddenly took out her mobile phone, pretending not to see his eyes, and acquiescing that she did have a secret. With the immortal magic in her body, she is indeed confident. Chi Kunwei thought about it for a moment and said seriously, "Student Chiao, just do what you just said. If there is a task suitable for you, we will invite you to join and pay you a considerable salary." Chiao Ningxun smiled with satisfaction, "Well, that's it. But, does it mean that the more dangerous the job, the higher the salary?" Suo Hongling frowned, "What do you want to do?" Chiao Ningxun smiled lightly and said, "I like dangerous things. I can promise you that with me here, I can guarantee that the mission can be solved without harming any of our lives." Chi Kunwei said, "Don't worry, I will consider it carefully. Your face is a strange one. It may be more convenient to use you for some tasks." Chiao Ningxun raised her eyebrows and did not mention that she knew how to disguise herself. "Then I'll wait. I'm looking forward to the first mission." Suo Hongling couldn't help but ask, "Are you short of money?" Chiao Ningxun, "I'm short of money. Even if I have 100 billion, I'm still short of money. Who knows if one day my investment will fail and I will lose all my money. So the more money, the better, and the more channels it can come from, the better." Suo Hongling, Do you think your father and elder brother don't exist? Can they make you short of money? Qiaoning Sun, they are them, I am me, and it is not easy for them to make money. Suo Hongling frowned. Compared with Suo Xingxin, this man is really too sensible. The three of them had dinner together, and Suo Hongling and Qi Kunwei sent Qiaoning Sun back to her house. In the car, Suo Hongling said, Mr. Qi, about that mission. Qi Kunwei smiled and said, don't worry, she is from the Suo family. The contributions of the Suo family to China can be counted with two hands. Chairman Suo only has 2 children. I will not let her. She will not be allowed to go on risky, life-threatening missions. Suo Hongling breathed a sigh of relief. Thank you, Mr. Qi. After sending Qi Kunwei away, Suo Hongling reported today's events to Fengan, Suo Jingguo and Suo Hongfeng. Thought they would blame him for putting their beloved daughter and sister at risk in the future. Unexpectedly, they actually agreed very much. Suo Jingguo, she can tell fortunes. When you go on a mission, if you are not sure about the degree of danger, you can ask her. Suo Hongfeng, she is very powerful. She can easily calculate dangerous things. You don't have to be too polite, but you must pay her the money she deserves. Don't let her work for you in vain. Suo Hongling hung up the phone, took the photo Qiaoning Sun sent to him, and went to register her. This holiday plus the Mid-Autumn Festival will last for 3 days. Qiaoning Sun plans to make good use of these 3 days to see if there are any good pharmaceutical companies that can be acquired. Of course, although she doesn't want to admit it, she is just a girl and can easily be looked down upon. Fortunately, Chu Yanyi had time, so she asked him out and asked him to help her. Chu Yanyi was very concerned about Qiaoning Sun's affairs and agreed without hesitation. In the afternoon, when they were feeling sleepy, the two made an appointment to meet at a coffee shop. Qiaoning Sun was looking up information on her tablet and was lost in thought when suddenly a bouquet of flowers appeared in front of her. When she raised her head, she saw Chu Yanyi looking at her tenderly. Qiaoning Sun took the flowers and thanked her politely. After Chu Yanyi sat down, Qiaoning Sun caught a glimpse of something inside the flower and reached out to take it out. Looking at Chu Yanyi, she saw that he was motioning for her to open it, so she had to put the flowers down first and open the box. What catches the eye is a diamond necklace. Qiaoning Sun thought about it for a moment. This seemed to be the world's top jewelry company. It was released in limited quantities this year. It was only sold to old customers, and there were only 3 pieces. New customers couldn't buy it no matter how much money they had. Chu Yanyi smiled warmly, do you like it? Qiaoning Sun frowned, this seems very expensive. Chu Yanyi, I have money, and I can spend as much as I want for you. Qiaoning Sun immediately stopped worrying. She also had money. Thinking about it, she took out a bottle of pills from her bag and said, here you go. This is. I made it myself. It is very good for the body. It can nourish the body in all aspects, especially the kidneys. You can't buy it even if you have money. The corners of Chu Yanyi's mouth twitched sharply, do you think I have kidney deficiency? Qiaoning Sun raised his eyebrows, how many men are there who don't have kidney deficiency now? After saying that, she looked at Chu Yanyi who looked humiliated and hurriedly explained, don't get me wrong, it is said in ancient medical books that staying up late can also damage the kidneys. Nowadays, we young people rarely stay up late, so I just want to replenish your kidneys. It's just one of the functions of this bottle of elixir. Chu Yanyi smiled and said, I know, I'm just teasing you. Qiaoning Sun was speechless. When did Chu Yanyi become so evil? Chu Yanyi walked up to Qiaoning Sun and put the necklace on her personally, you have fair skin, so this necklace suits you very well. Qiaoning Sun took out the mirror and looked at it, and was very satisfied, it's indeed good. You have a good sense. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 470. Chu Yanyi put away the elixir she gave him and asked, "Are you willing to formally date me now?" Chiao Ningxun was helpless. "You just gave me an expensive gift and you asked me right away. If I agreed, wouldn't it make people think that I'm greedy for money? But if I didn't agree and you gave me another gift, wouldn't it be very disrespectful? Give you face." Chu Yanyi sighed softly. "What do you want to do so much? I know you are not a money-minded person, otherwise you would have asked the Suo family to reveal your identity." "That's true," Jiao Ningxun said. "Then I promise you. It's not a good idea to keep hanging on to others like this. Although she is cultivating immortality, it is possible that Chu Yanyi is dead but she is still alive. But it doesn't matter, if she finds the right opportunity, she can let Chu Yanyi cultivate immortality with her, so that they can live forever together. But if Chu Yanyi betrays her in the future, it will be easier to let him die of old age and she will live forever." Chu Yanyi immediately smiled and said, "Thank you. Chiao Ningxun, you're welcome. I just agreed to date you, not to spend the rest of my life with you. Whether I want you to be my life partner depends on your future performance." Hearing this, Chu Yanyi said matter-of-factly, "Of course, don't worry, I will try my best to satisfy you." Chiao Ningxun smiled with satisfaction. The two had coffee, and Chiao Ningxun planned to promote her medical career. Just as she turned on the computer, she saw a middle-aged woman next to her suddenly falling to the ground. The waiters in the coffee shop suddenly became confused, and other customers quickly stood up and walked to the middle-aged woman's side to watch the excitement. A waiter gently touched the middle-aged woman and asked anxiously, "Madam, what's wrong with you? Do you need to call 120? The middle-aged woman seemed to still be conscious. She opened her eyes with difficulty and said weakly, "No. No need. I am terminally ill. There is no hope. The factory will close down and I will be divorced. My husband's family thinks I am sick, don't want me, just let me die." The expressions of all the staff in the coffee shop changed. Even if this person had a terminal illness, he couldn't die here. If someone were to die here, all their jobs would be lost. The store manager came over immediately and said with a grimace, "Madam, I have called the police. Please hold on a little longer and don't leave here. My friends and I just invested in this store. If you die, all our investment has been wasted." The middle-aged woman is a kind person. After hearing this, she immediately sat up with difficulty. Others also went to help her. The middle-aged woman breathed quickly and said, "Yes, I'm sorry, it's not my fault. I'll go outside right now." After saying that, she wanted to stand up. But her illness seemed to be getting worse and worse, and she had no strength to support her to stand up. After a while, she fell into the waiter's arms and closed her eyes. The store manager looked anxiously at the crowd. "Are there any doctors among you? It will take a few minutes for the ambulance to arrive." Chu Yanyi motioned for him to look to the side. "She has passed." The store manager was stunned, turned around and saw that Jiao Ningxun had arrived beside the middle-aged woman, squatted down and started to feel her pulse. The store manager saw that she was very young and asked anxiously, "Girl, are you a medical student?" "Jiao Ningxun is multitasking, just think of me." The store manager is anxious. "It's over, how could a medical student save a terminally ill patient? At least an expert should come to save the life. She won't make things worse the more she saves people, right?" It's not surprising that he had such thoughts. Other guests also thought so. Not for anything else, but because Jiao Ningxun is really too young. If she hadn't been wearing a mature skirt and necklace, they would have thought she was still in high school. Just when the store manager imagined that he would continue to be a hard worker because of the closure of the coffee shop, having to work 16 hours a day to pay off his debts, Jiao Ningxun had already taken out a silver needle and quickly inserted a few needles into the middle-aged woman's body. A few minutes later, the middle-aged woman suddenly opened her eyes, and Xiaoningsun helped her sit up. In an instant, the people around were stunned. The person was saved like this? Is terminal illness so easy to be saved? Or, are they directing and acting on their own? The middle-aged woman's breath has also become calmer. At this time, she still doesn't know what happened, and said blankly, shouldn't I be dead? Xiaoningsun took back the silver needle on her body and said quietly, you are fine. Although you have a terminal illness, you can live for a few more years. As a stranger, she extended the life of this middle-aged woman for 5 years, so she was not sorry for her. As for her disease, it is more complicated than any patient she has treated before, and it cannot be cured in one session today. It is probably impossible to get this middle-aged woman to believe her words and cooperate with her treatment. They have just met each other, and she has to charge a lot of money, so she will probably be regarded as a liar. So, let it be, and we will talk about the future later. 5 years is a long time or a short time. If they meet again, she will treat her again. In order to keep her life fresh, she would not predict the future for each person she meets. Such a life is really boring. She just calculated the lady's past and knew that she was a good person, so she gave her 5 years of life. However, the process still needs to be followed. Xiaoningsun took out his business card and gave it to the middle-aged woman. Here is my contact information. I am a doctor. If you need it in the future, you can contact me. The middle-aged woman took the business card blankly and said in surprise, Xiaoningsun? Are you a student of Waxia University? The people around him suddenly realized that he was a top student at Huaxia University. No wonder he had such powerful medical skills. Xiaoningsun nodded, yes, both me and my boyfriend are. After saying that, she didn't stay any longer and quickly left the coffee shop with Chu Yanyi. Everyone was already awake, and the store manager didn't stop Xiaoningsun. The store manager looked at the middle-aged woman anxiously, are you okay? The middle-aged woman thought about what the store manager said just now, and said with some embarrassment, I'm sorry, I've caused you trouble, I'll leave now. She was about to stand up when 120 arrived. Seeing her lying on the ground, the medical staff quickly came to her side and asked, what's wrong? The middle-aged woman thought of what Xiaoningsun said just now and said truthfully, I have cancer. The disease broke out just now. Please send me to the hospital for a checkup. I don't know why, but she was very concerned about what Xiaoningsun said just now about living a few more years. The doctor obviously told her that even if she underwent surgery, she wouldn't be able to survive for long. She didn't want the knife to cut her body, so she gave up the operation. I thought she would die this way due to the sudden illness. End of chapter.